Today's guest is truly a comrade of mine. When we met back in 2006 at Kershaw Correctional Institution, we had no idea that today our lives would be on similar paths. Back in the pen, he was aspiring to become an actor in the movie industry, while I was becoming a writer and aspiring filmmaker. Fast forward to 2022, and we are both living our dreams that were born from within. Today, we chop it up with Darryle Jermaine, aka Storm. Welcome everybody to Pen to Pen podcast. I have a great guest with me today. This guest is special in the sense that we both did time together. Kershaw Correctional Institution. When I first met him, he was on the dial line, cooking, running the kitchen, doing this thing like that right there. So, welcome, Darryle Jermaine, aka Storm, as we called him in Department of Correction. You know, he still think he may have a little hops. I don't know. You know, you can see he got a little size to him. So, yeah. But welcome, baby.
Man, I appreciate you having me on, Ken.
Yeah.
Word, man. This is love, man. Especially coming from you. You know what I mean? Like, cause you a legend in your own right. So, you know what I mean? I appreciate this interview, Ken.
Salute. Tell the people about you. Where are you from?
I'm originally from New York, Brooklyn. But when I was young, my grandmother took me down to Darryle, South Carolina, and that's where I got in all my troubles and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? And that's where I learned sort of kind of like who I was, you know, in Darryle, South Carolina. So very, very small town, but you know, I rep that to the fullest. Shout out to Darryle, South Carolina, man.
Yeah. PD, right? PD area, right. Well, tell me what you was going through at the time. Tell the people about your life prior to the incarceration, what you was going through, what you was doing, man.
Well, I mean, I got locked up 17 years old.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man, I got locked up 17 years old. So I really wasn't doing much, but I was doing everything, really.
So you was like 25, 26 when I met you then.
I was like 25. 24, 25, like 25.
And you was running that kitchen. That says a lot. Now we know how the cafeteria is the pen. That says a lot. You running that thing, man.
But by the time I met you, I had already been on that yard for like 45 years. So you know what I mean? Like everybody knew me. So,
right.
You know how I work. You know how I work back there. You gotta put your little time in to
True.
Get your weight up. But yeah, man. 17 years old, got locked up. I was locked up for armed robbery. It was me and 4 more other guys. And, one day, man, at this time, I wasn't going to school. You know what I mean? I had dropped out of school. I quit sports. So I'm like, yo, I'm about to be hustling. I'm about to fuck school. You know what I mean? So I did that. And one day, man, we just was like, yo, we need some bread. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all I did was smoke weed back then. I had a weed habit. So I didn't want to work. So I, me and 4 more other guys got up and went and thought we was grown, man. We went and committed some more robberies. You know what I mean? And make a long story short with that situation is that at the end, I was the only one that got time out of that situation.
Really? So you said to me that the other 3 guys turned, or it just played out like that?
Alright, so and I laugh because it's like this, man. South Carolina is, the law is the hands of one is the hands of all, right?
True.
If I commit a crime with someone, then we all get charged for the same crime.
That's the law.
Right? So, therefore, we all should have got time. But, I guess cats, they got some probation.
Right.
I got that time, though. I got that 10. I got that dime.
They gave you 10 behind that.
I got that dime. So,
wow.
I ain't pointing the fingers, but, like, the words is written on the mirror.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm
see the
saying?
paperwork. You know, we know the paperwork look like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And even though it's 20 plus years, right? It's something that I still remember this.
Facts.
You know, see, cats don't understand. When you're young, you get in the streets, like, you gotta live by that code, man.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta live by that code, but everybody, they jump off the porch and they think they can live by that code. They think that they something that they not. You know what I mean? And then when them people coming, you feel what I'm saying?
Oh, I mean, I was listening to some guys speak on, and they actually were talking about, just to piggyback on what you said, Tekashi 6ix9ine, right?
Yeah.
Those guys expected him to live by that code, but he clearly said, I was listening to Fat Joe said, he said in front of them, I'm not, this is a character.
Right.
I'm not part of that life like that.
Because he understood who he was.
Right, but so they expected him to live by the code. So for us that was out there doing our thing, we are supposed to live by that code. So
you are supposed to live by that code and not to, just keep talking about it, but it's like cats want me to forget about what happened and what they did.
Right.
I'll never forget that.
You can't.
Listen, them people gave me a SCDC number.
Yeah.
They said, you don't even got a social security number right now. This is your social security number.
Facts.
My number was 260974. I ain't been locked up. That was 20 years ago. Why I'm still remembering that? Because I had to recite that shit for 8 years and 6 months.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You know what's
I keep
going
mine in
on.
my pocket.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
so
the edge.
when you go through shit like that in your life, you can't just forget. You know what I mean? You can't just forget about certain shit. You know what I mean? And
Facts.
now I got my platforms. You feel what I'm saying? Where I'm able to get people to pay attention, to listen. Not to throw no shade on niggas, but to listen, pay attention. Like, listen, just be who you are. Be you. Like, if you ain't no gangster, don't try to be no gangster. Don't play it, man.
Okay, good segue into this right here. What was incarceration like for you?
Incarceration was like, at first, when I first got locked up, I ain't gonna lie, I was scared. I was scared as fuck when I first got locked up. I went to R&E. You know, that shit was at Kirkland. I went to R&E. I don't know if it was at Kirkland for you.
Yeah, everything at Kirkland.
Okay.
That's the central joint.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, reception center.
Reception,
They
call it R&E.
R&E,
right?
Yeah.
So, went to R&E. As soon as I got in, y'all, mind you, I just turned 8. I just turned 18 like a couple of weeks. Man, listen, it was like fresh meat. So I'm like, yo,
real movie shit.
What the real movie shit? So I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to stab one of these niggas up, yo. And then they was like, yo, these niggas will rape you and shit like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, yeah, it's gonna be a long bid, bro. You know what I mean? So, but once I got down there, that shit was nasty as fuck. That shit looked like the dungeon. I'll never forget it, bro.
Kirkland. Yeah,
Kirkland,
one of the oldest prisons in South Carolina.
That shit looked like the dungeon. And then when you walk in your dorm, that shit is dark. That shit is water everywhere. From what I remember, there's rats in there.
Yeah.
And then I was sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
So I'm coming from a 3-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
No, I'm coming from a 3-bedroom, not apartment, a 3-bedroom house that my grandmother got built from the ground up. Right. Not doing anything. She doing everything for us. Right. To going straight to the penitentiary and sleeping on the floor with rats and roaches and shit.
A 3-room.
A
6 by whatever.
Right.
3 people in a room.
3 people.
We on the cot. I was on that cot too, on the floor.
Exactly. It was crazy, man. But within time, I learned some things. You know what I mean? Like, they call you green when you first get locked up. Oh, he green. We can get over on him. You know what I mean? That somewhat it could be true. You know what I mean? Like, you gullible. You feel what I'm saying? But as time go on, you learn the system. You know what I'm saying? You learn how to maneuver.
What was your go-to in there? Like, everybody have their thing that they did. you know, for me, b-ball was my thing, right? B-ball, and then when I started writing scripts, that really was like, you know what I'm saying? I found myself every time I went to lock up, I wrote a script. At least I started it.
Yeah.
Then I come down and I finish it. You know what I mean? So I got 10 scripts. So when I tell you, I stayed going to lock up.
Stayed going to lock up.
And it was always an investigation. It was never it was never like I got into a fight or this and that. It was somebody that told on me, got me locked up. You did. So what was your go-to while you was incarcerated? What do you think?
My go-to was rapping, man. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
man.
You can rap.
I could rap a little bit, but let me give a shout out to my man, God Bless. You know what I mean? He's on his own soon. Shout out to my man, God Bless.
God Bless, solid dude.
Solid dude, man. And that's one dude, man, that always like encouraged me and just was like, yo, keep going. It was a lot of dudes on the yard, oh, Storm, you can't rap, this, that, and the third. But he was like, yo, keep going. You know what I mean? So, but rapping was my therapy. You know what I mean? Because I had so much shit inside of me. Mind you, I'm not just going through the trauma of being incarcerated at 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through the trauma of my mom's and my father not there for me. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't in my life. So I'm still trying to process this shit too. Like, man, what the fuck? Like, what am I to do? You know what I'm saying? How am I going to survive in this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so I used to write my pain away. You know what I'm saying? But I realized that I could never write my pain away. It's just too much writing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, but that's what I did, man.
So rap was your go-to. What was your awakening?
My awakening.
Yeah, well, what made you, you know, I feel like everybody go through an awakening when they're in that joint, man, and say, like, what was the transition in mind prior to you getting out of prison? There have to be, for you to be in the acting world the way you are right now, you're on Law and Order. What's the other one? Force or Power? Which one?
I'm on Power, Ghost.
There you go.
Ghost.
And now you're doing your Broadway.
Yeah, off Broadway.
Off Broadway. Yeah. Now check it out. There had to be, in my, at least for me, there had to be an awakening or a transition. Now, I can tell you what mine was. I was at Kershaw. I'm in Magnolia.
Okay.
Now, prior to me coming to prior to me coming to Kershaw, I had never been into a prison where they ain't give a fuck about the police.
Right.
Kershaw was one of them prisons.
Yeah.
They gonna beat up the police.
Yeah.
They gonna get us locked down. And so I'm in Mac. So you got I'm on that East Yard or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm in Magnolia, and we had Oak over there.
Oh.
So
I used to be in Oak.
Right, Oak was rough too.
Oak.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So that particular day we had just came on lockdown. So they stayed jumping on polices down there. I don't know where. Every time we came on lockdown, they would beat the police up. The 45-day lockdown. So like Big Snipes, Steve Snipes. Shout out Steve Snipes, my dog. He came to Atlanta a while ago. He doing his thing too. Ben and Jerry's. He worked for Ben and Jerry's. Right. So check it. Snipes knock on the door. Let's go play basketball. Because you know we probably gonna go right back in the lockdown. Just so happened, Greenville and Rock Hill and those guys, Mac 10.
Yeah, I remember those
some White Side.
I remember them.
You get them guys, all those guys. They was fighting. They was gambling. They was playing poker early that morning.
Okay.
They was getting into it. We go out and play ball. We come back. You know, they had a buck going in there on Prada. When we came back, it was like you could hear a pin drop in there. For some reason, the chapel decided to play on the TVs. Man on Fire, and Medea movies.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was that moment I watched all these gangsters, these gang members, and everybody in their respective areas, mouth wide open, watching Man on Fire. I said, I gotta learn how to write, boy. This thing can control the savage beasts in these guys. Cause
Yeah.
we just knew it was gonna be a stabbing that day. We was gonna be right back on lockdown. Them guys didn't really care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Another 45 days
Another 45
or something, right? But that was my awakening. Your awakening.
Well, I guess my awakening was when I first got locked up, bro. Like when I first got locked up, you feel what I'm saying? I know what you're saying. Like,
I know
what was my awakening already? You know, while I was back there being incarcerated. But I got to say, as soon as the judge hit the damn thing, and that was it. My knees buckled. I'll never forget it. I was sitting right there. I'm standing here. My lawyer right there. One of my co-defendants, he had just went ahead of me, and the judge gave him probation.
Wow.
He went ahead of me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, that judge said, I hereby sentence you to 10 years in the Department of Corrections. And the courtroom was crowded. I said, damn, 10 years, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. But, you know, that was my awakening, man, because I was like, you know what? I got to be a man. I got to man up. I did this shit. Like, I got to man up.
Yeah.
So, but when I through time being back then incarcerated, and when I first got locked up, I was wild, getting in trouble, going on lockup. But as time went on, I started maturing a little bit. You know what I mean? I started maturing a little bit, and I just say, you know what? I can't do the same thing that I was doing. My grandma's, she passed away. My dad passed away. You know what I mean? I still have my moms out here, but me and my moms ain't have a relationship. And then I have my auntie. Shout out to my aunt Wendy. She's always holding me down, even to this day. Like, you know what I mean? It's all love, man. And you know.
And that's what I was gonna ask you too. Did you have family support in going through that? So auntie held you down.
Yeah, definitely. Auntie held me down. But yeah, man. So that's when, you know, I said, you know what? I gotta do something different. I gotta be a man now.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. What year was you released?
I was released in 2007.
How was your transition?
Shit, my transition, it was crazy because I was supposed to come to New York. You feel what I'm saying? I'm supposed to go to New York. And mind you, I was on lockup. I had filled my interstate compact out, right? A whole year before I even was supposed to get released. Because I know it takes that long, right? My aunt, she ready for me to come. She got my plane ticket, everything, right? The day before I was supposed to get released, they called me to operations. They said, yeah, Darryle such, your interstate compact was denied. I said, what you mean? What you mean? My heart dropped. I said, what you mean? It was denied, like everything planned. We can't. You have to stay in you got to stay in the state of South Carolina. I was like, yo, I don't got nobody here.
Do the same thing.
You feel what I'm saying? And then I was thinking quick. I said, my man, shout out to my man Lil Mike too, man. That's one of my best friends. I called him. I said, yo, man, they denied my interstate compact. I need somebody to come pick me up. You know what I mean? Dang, he was working in North Carolina at the time. So he sent his dad. His dad came and got me, man.
Oh, that's major.
Yeah, man, that's major.
That's major.
So boom, his dad came and got me, bought me an outfit, put a couple of dollars in my pocket. I had to report to probation office in Marion, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Reported there. So I'm like, yo, and it was this lady named Melissa. Cool white lady. I don't know her name, but she was cool. So shout out to Melissa. I appreciate you. So you know, she was like, I feel you. You know what I mean? You young, this and the third. Let me make some calls. She made some calls. She found a shelter. And yeah, man, I went to that shelter that day. Yeah, I went to that shelter that day, man. And I don't know, it just felt like I was still locked up though.
Yeah, this your life, you can play with it.